Detroit and Stockton were the two biggest Chapter 9 city bankruptcies in U.S. history. And there's a tremendous amount that we can learn from those two bankruptcies. Detroit really stands for post-industrial collapse in the country, but it is also very similar to cities all across the Rust Belt. And even in California, we have our own category of Rust Belt cities. And one of the things I've seen in my research already is the way cities conduct mass layoffs when they have to lay off 10, 20, 30, and sometimes 40% of their workforces. Where do those layoffs happen? The more high poverty a city is, the more the city government itself is reduced down to public safety as its core and almost sole mission. So you get some sanitation spending at the margins, some public work spending, some administrative spending, but the vast majority, 2/3 or more of the city's budget is going to police and fire. And I think there are really compelling questions we have to ask about city government in high poverty areas. Do we need cities to do more than police and fire and sanitation? Do we need them to do youth programming? Do we need them to fund charitable organizations and private contractors to do it for them? There are a couple of other things that we've learned from Detroit's bankruptcy and Stockton's bankruptcy in particular that are really important for other cities right now. One is that cities can modify their commitments to retirees in bankruptcy. So in both cities, they actually wiped out, or more or less functionally wiped out, their healthcare promises to their retirees. And that is an incredibly important legal development because there are a lot of cities across the country that have made promises to their retirees in the form of healthcare benefits for those retirees, or in some cases their spouses. And these two bankruptcies indicate that local governments who do have access through state law to the Chapter 9 municipal bankruptcy process can open and annul those promises. This is a really important doctrinal development that cities are looking at Stockton and Detroit, and they are learning that they can alter their pension obligations to retirees. They're also learning that there are devastating political and human costs to doing so. We are now 20 to 35 years into an anti-tax revolution that in property tax laws, the longer we keep property tax revenues under control and limited, the longer we see local governments constrained in their ability to raise new revenues. So I think until we have a serious conversation about local revenues, sort of where local governments get their money, if we're not going to get it from property taxes, where are we going to get it instead? Until we have that conversation, we still have a tremendous amount of work to do at solving these bigger problems.